everyone, it's me, Domino SMK.
Devin3000.
And Bam.
Yep, and today we're doing our much-awaited Cat podcast, in part for the fall patch for Sony Santa Monica and PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. And, Cat's a heavily unliked character right now due to how crippling unbalanced she is. She is, without a doubt, very glitchy. She is very powerful to the point where she's banned in every tournament and even some streams. So, yeah, so today to talk about it, we have Bam of the People. Iggy cannot make it due to his heavy schedule. Liz has already talked with Bam. And, yeah, so going right into that. Let's just jump right into the fry. Bam, can you tell me what Cat's typical playstyle is, as well as, might as well just list what matchups she doesn't go completely ham on?
For the most part, there's very few matchups in which she doesn't just outright destroy them. One would be kind of, I would say, Raiden, because Raiden does have some kind of air-to-air presence, so that's something that can actually affect her. Kratos in the way too, with some of his tools. Unfortunately, because he's a character that has to go for level 2s and whatnot, he just has to work. He has to work harder than her for a lot of things. He does have capability of spiking her down really well. He does have some actual juggle traps on her, like where if he does a up square and she air dodges, then he can catch her, which is really huge because a lot of characters have dealings with that. And then Parappa still gets owned as well, but Parappa also has uppercut, which can punish one of her kind of stronger approaches in her neutral triangle. So,
but overall, these matchups are still obviously in Cat's favor.
Yeah. Overall, these matchups are still heavily in Cat's favor. She's just an overpowering character in general. She has tons of movement that is, that movement that no one in the cast has at all. But then that's in tandem with the best projectile in the game and also the best jab in the game. And her ability to get air-to-air confirms, ground-to-air confirms, air-to-ground confirms, getting even, grab resets, some touch of death and whatnot, just make her such a overpowering character as a whole. We're to the point where just a lot of people you can't really do anything against it. There's very little you can do.
Okay, going right off from what you just said about the jab, we're going to go right into her moveset with her jab. What do we do with probably the safest move in the game?
Yeah, some have even said that her jab is safe on whiff. You're approaching and you do a jab, and even though it didn't connect on either block or on them at all, you're still safe. Yeah,
I mean, it's a ridiculous move. I mean, again, in terms of things being safe on whiff, I mean, technically you can always whiff punish anything, but it's the point that it's so safe that if you just stop it on reaction, it's ridiculously hard for anyone to actually even whiff punish it because of its safety. Obviously, it's a 3-string jab. She can, add, tack on some other square moves afterwards at times, but basically she has a 3-string jab that is the fastest jab in the game, and it's something that actually works on air opponents, which is actually a huge thing, because obviously in this game, for the most part, you have some decent jabs and whatnot, but having a jab that can actually catch airborne opponents and still combo into a kill confirm, and besides the fact that it's being the best jab in the game, in terms of speed-wise, is ridiculous dangerous. She gets just too much reward from it. She has basically no risk throwing out her jab unless she's playing against another cat. The thing that we're looking in terms of nerfing her to put her at a level playing field is actually initially taking her jab down. It needs an increased startup frames, so it's got to be slower startup. Thinking something along the lines of little less than Dante's frame-wise, and also if she does her full jab string, that she should be able to be punished. That should be a guaranteed punish. as of right now, the only character that can really punish her from doing a full jab string is another cat, and that's ridiculous. And so, basically you have 2 chances to stop your jab and to go for something else. If you commit the entire jab string, you should be in a position where either a character gets a raw level 1 you, or they can go ahead and they get some kind of, hit confirm or something at this point.
Combo starter.
Yeah, some combo starter, whatever. It's just there needs to be a ward. You need to be punished for putting out an entire jab string. It should not be safe.
Okay, so.
You said you would increase the startup.
Yes.
What about the cooldown? Because the thing about whiffs is that the startup isn't what matters. It's the cooldown and how easy it's like, oh, I missed. Let me get out of here. You know?
I mean, that's the whole point that I mean by allowing it to even get a ground punish. The only reason why it would get a full ground punish is because it would actually, in addition to having increased startup frames, it would have increased recovery frames as well.
Okay, so
yeah.
What about her her ability to combo right after that into anything she wants?
Yeah, the thing about that is for her combo-wise, and it's a lot more of it is going to make more sense as we go into her other moves as well. But it's something that she does. She does go ahead and she gets an AP burst from it. Dante does get AP burst from his jab. There's some other characters that do get AP burst from their jabs, even though they catch them in the air. Usually, the problem with her is that even if they go in the air, doesn't matter. She's still getting a kill confirmed, and so that's kind of the thing that needs to be addressed for the most so. And I mean, again, as we go through the move list, you'll see the kind of things that we'll be talking about in terms of nerfs that will get her to a proper place where she can, she still gets a good reward from using her jab. She still has a jab, but it's going to be something that is going to be not going to be as great. It's going to have less. Yeah, it's going to have an increased startup, and so she's not going to be able to punish everything with her jab like crazy. And but she's still going to have her reward, and it's also something that's going to be have recovery frames, so it can be punished. So leaving it to a point where she's getting still a good reward, but she's not having like no risk for it.
Okay.
Which is the biggest concern. Okay,
so essentially, this move it's a huge move, but like it's gonna just what you're saying is just for now it's give it just cooldown and more cooldown and more startup.
Right.
And the more we add on, the more that I'm sure there's a lot of people who want this move nerfed into the earth. But like as we move on in this podcast, you'll see that as tacked on with everything else in the move, that those 2 nerfs should do it just about so that she's not completely unusable either.
Exactly.
So going off of that, let's go into her other square. Her forward square, a little dive kick. Could you also mention the aerial version too?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so the forward, her grounded forward square, it's just like eject move. It's not really all that great. It's whatever. That move is really fine as it is. She does have her air forward square. Her air forward square is really, really good. It's a dive kick that basically has. She doesn't really have any lag on the landing, and she can obviously tag in with the fastest jab in the game. Then she can do all these missteps on it. And the point is that because she's a character with all this mobility and everything, she can tack that in and then combo into something, and then all of a sudden, boom, she got an AP burst or a kill confirm. So the issue in terms of nerfing the air forward square would be to actually increase the landing lag that she has from that move. Make it at least something that would be somewhat like standardized, like 5 frames or slightly more. So she can still get a punish from it if she connects it, but something that can be punished if it's blocked. Also, a huge thing, it's not necessarily a button, but I want to discuss this too so that it makes a more clear picture as to why this move isn't more nerfed, is dealing with her air dash. The thing is, this move is really strong when coupled with her air dash because she has an invincible air dash. because she can air dodge through her air dash. And so there's basically a 50-50 you deal with when she's rushing in on you. Either A, is she going to air dodge in and then, do her jab mix-ups, which are basically nigh unbeatable, or is she just going to come out with the air forward square, which is safe on block, and then pressure me that way? And so an idea that Iggy and I were discussing was actually making her not able to air dodge during her air dash. And that would be a huge thing, because whenever you see her dashing around you, whether she can put out an air forward square or not, she's able to be hit. And so it intrinsically nerfs that move by the fact that she can't just be walking around and doing dashes and then have that potential of mix-up. Because that's the issue with her. The fact that it's both options are just so safe, and they're both viable. Her air dodging in with invincible air dash, or just doing an air forward square. So adding landing lag so it can be punished, and then in tandem with the air dash nerf would make that move still a good move, but definitely something that can be punished.
Okay, so no, what you propose sounds perfectly. So making her unable to dodge during her air dash, because that is, it's perfect. It's bait even to people who know that they can't hit it, but the fact that it's basically unpunishable no matter how you look at it, even if they know she's going to dodge, they can't hit her, because by then she'll land, and she doesn't have that much landing lag to it, so she's pretty much free to escape.
Exactly.
So it's a bit, no, not even a bit, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just be prepared to sum up everything at the very end, Bam. I'm sorry.
Of course. No, of course. I'll sum it up collectively so it makes proper sense as to how all these nerfs work together. Because the thing for a cat is her whole moveset is amazing.
Right.
Her toolkit is really good. And so what you have to do with her as a character to not totally just destroy her and put her instant low tier is you have to nerf her and all these things, and you have to see what actually works together. And so by nerfing those supposed things, a lot of things will be inherently nerfed, and then she'll be a much more balanced character.
Right. Okay. In all honesty, I feel like her down square, both aerial and ground, are perfectly fine. In all honesty, perhaps I think that's her one pretty fair move. It doesn't build that much AP. It's pretty slow. Its recovery is pretty average. Like, you can actually undershirt off of that.
Right.
I guess this is also worth mentioning right here. What do you think about her hitbox when she crouches? Because when she crouches, that hitbox is microscopic.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I have a really huge issue with as well. I think that her hitboxes need to be, her hurt boxes need to be adjusted so that she doesn't get away with a lot of these things. I think it's unfortunate that her hurt box as a whole seems to be pretty small, and so there's a lot of times a lot of moves will just simply miss on her, and a lot of it doesn't even really make any sense. You can understand if it's a small character, even that some people may have issues with, but that's something that needs to be dealt with. There's no reason why this character, who's that not as small as Sackboy or whatever, can just duck, and all of a sudden her hurt box becomes non-existent.
Right, because the fact of the matter is, whether they're a small character or not, the hurt box should be accurate to the model that they are seeing. That way, when they're doing a move against that character, it makes sense to them. If you're doing a move and it passes through them, that changes the entire approach, because now you have to you have to go beyond what you're seeing, which just causes so much more strategizing that you shouldn't have to do. The hurt boxes should always match the model.
Yeah. Also, going along with that, the topic of hurt boxes, this is something I would be saying recurrent throughout this whole entire thing. But also for Kat's jab, her jab is very disjointed. She needs to have a hurt box as well alongside her closer to her hitboxes, and so that you can actually trade with her in a better way. Right now, her hitbox is so small when she's jabbing, where it's pretty ridiculous. And so if she has her jab out, and you can be like sometimes a sword character or whatever, and she just doesn't care. And so that's something also that needs to be addressed. Granted, she's going to need some disjointed hitboxes in some of her moves, but I do not think that a jab should have such a great disjoint.
Yeah. So like with the way that the hurt box is on her jab is that she's essentially a sword character as well. That her leg is not technically part of her body in the sense that you can't hit it, and if you do, you're only hitting a hitbox, which doesn't hurt the character at all. As far as like disjoint and like certain things need to be disjoint, and we'll go into it. Like she has her, her things that aren't actually a part of her gravity well and stuff. Like that is not part of her, so that wouldn't have hurt boxes. But things that are her body, again, they need to make sense. They need to match the model so that you're not doing this unnecessary level of thinking that just messes with all common sense.
Right. Okay. I guess we should just wrap up the squares and just mention her up square. I also feel this move is also pretty fine as a launcher, but coupled with her other tools, it makes it really ridiculous at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. She gets a good amount of reward from it. Mm-hmm. I think that if anything, you can
give it more cooldown.
Yeah, it does have cooldown, but you can just add some more recovery on it, and so that it can be punished more consistently. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be pretty much good for her. It's a good hitbox in itself already. Obviously, usually you're doing it after jab or something like that, so it doesn't really matter. But just outright, it would be good to have it have a punished, and then of course it doesn't really matter because she can still combo from it because she can jump cancel.
Right.
So yeah, just adding a few more frames on that would actually be good as well on the ending.
Okay, and that covers all her square moves. Now let's move into her very, very troublesome triangle moves.
Yes.
Oh god. So what do we do with her triangle move? This move is basically, it gets her off the ground instantly. It lingers for quite a distance, gets her 30 AP, and it puts her in a floaty aerial state where she can just continue to fly out of it and she gets unsafe.
Right. So basically, as far as neutral triangle is concerned, automatically that move needs to be considered grounded for a lot longer. Even the move itself, it's good. It's a fast move. I see it kind of like, it's like a kind of Parappa's uppercut, except it's like obviously it's exponentially better, and she gets all this reward from it. And so I think it's a move that even if it has its particular speed, I think that it should be grounded for a longer period. So if she does it on Wake Up and you read it, then she's considered grounded, and you can get her whatever. You can grab her out of it, or you can get a ground stun or crumple or whatever it may be. Also, the move in itself too. I think that it should be a move that should have longer recovery frames. The only thing is that she should have, obviously on hit, it should still be cancelable. And so basically, if she does it on block, that doesn't mean she can go around and do some crazy mix-up on you just from neutral triangle, because already it's initially a good move, it has great speed, and she gets a lot of reward from it. So having her actually fall from recovery, unless she actually gets it on hit, in which she can cancel, will actually make the move punishable. And so that again will give someone a reward if they read that move. And so it's a move that's quick. You get a good reward, but if you're just throwing it out, then you're going to get punished for it. And I think that's the major issue with that move at this time. At this time, there's no punishment for that move. Even some characters, at the best, what they can get is a trade. They can punish her. Yeah, they can punish her out of what she's going to do next. but that what moves so powerful, it should not be the case. So yeah, adding recovery frames from it, just only having it cancelable on hit. So if they hit it on block or they hit it on whiff, she falls down. And when she falls down, then you can do something to her. Only until she's nearly to the ground, where I believe she'd be able to do a particular move.
Okay. Let's segue from that into her aerial neutral triangle. God, it's basically the partner in crime to that. To her grounded neutral triangle gets her the aerial spinniness of death. What do you have in mind for this move?
This move right now is it's a great move. It obviously gets her, it helps with her getting her maximum AP burst for her.
30 AP.
Yeah, it gives 30 AP. I think that if you're doing it low to the ground, it should have more of a punishment. That's one thing. That's an issue, because you can kind of do it repeatedly far more quickly than you should be able to. So I think that it should have a more landing leg on it. The move in itself in the air, if it's whipped, she actually stone falls. So basically what that means is once she does that move, until she hits the ground, she can't perform any other action. Right. So you can punish. It's one of her moves that is actually punishable. However, when you're doing it close to the ground, then it seems kind of
silly.
Yeah, it seems kind of silly. It's not something a lot of people are going to be doing like crazy, but it's do something that needs to be addressed. And I think just adding a slight landing leg on that move would be perfectly fine. Other than that, you're getting combos. She's going to get good AP burst. And
you think it should still do 30 though?
I don't think that it should necessarily do 30. I mean, she gets a good amount of AP anyways. And there's other things. The thing is, she can do other things to get to make up for that loss in the 30. So I think, in my opinion, that it should just be 20, and that's perfectly fine.
Considering how fast it starts up too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a ridiculously fast
30 AP move.
It's 30 AP, and it's something that you can do consistently. Obviously, in terms of matches like, say, for instance, like Emmett, you just walk over, boom, just destroy the turret like nothing. Yep.
And she can control the motion.
Exactly. And so she can arguably kind of make it even more safe, which is why if you impose more landing leg on it, then regardless of where she moves or where she goes, it's still something that can be punished. And again, like I said, if it's done high in the air and they whiff it for whatever reason up there, then they stone fall, and that's a guaranteed kill by pretty much the entire cast.
Okay. Alright, let's go on through that. Let's go into her down triangle, her super mobile slidiness.
Yeah.
Obviously, this move makes her hyper mobile. It's part of her character design, but man, does that hitbox turn to 0. Holy hell.
Yeah. To be honest, I think this move it's a really great move. I think that I think it's awesome to be to have like a mobile move like that. It's very unique. But her
box.
Yeah. Her whole thing is mobility. However, her hurt box should not be that small. It should not be that small. I think that it's just ridiculous to the point where there's just so many things will just outright whiff her when she's doing it, and again, it's something where she can get a good amount of reward. So I think it's a move where she should have her hurt box extended, so to a point where she actually can still be hit as if she was just standing. Mm-hmm. I think that all the other things that she can do out of it are relatively fine. It's just that, for instance, like if you do down triangle square, then I think that move should be a little more punished, like more punishable. It should have a slight recovery on it. She'll still be able to combo from it, obviously, but something that if she hits it on block, it will be able to be punished. And I think that's something that she needs.
Because one of her biggest issues is being unable to be punished for anything she does, no matter how careless she is.
Exactly. And a character like this, when you have mobility like she does, the whole point of these kind of characters, usually in fighters, is that, you know, they're super quick, they're too fast, they do all these things, but, you know, they need to have some kind of downside for it. Otherwise, they can just rush, and all of a sudden, boom, that's it.
Yeah, you get Yoon from Street Fighter 3.
Exactly. So you need to have some kind of downside, and I think just adding those frames to her thing, so she can still be combo savvy, she can still be great, and everyone do all those things, but, you know, she needs to have her repercussions for trying to go for that reward as well.
And, you know, to keep in mind, when she does, she can jump out of it, and, you know, what Kat likes to do after jump out of it is go into other moves, but, you know, once we get into those other moves, the slide into jump will be, it'll all make sense, like Bam has mentioned. It'll make all sense in the end. So
Right.
Okay, so continuing on, let's get into her, okay, alright. So, how about in the aerial version where she gets dive kicks? Multiple, not just one, she gets two.
Yeah. The dive kick, it's solid, but to be honest, it's a move that it really isn't all that good once you actually understand where she always goes, especially when she whiffs it. It's one of the moves that's actually, it's one of the moves that can actually be punished by Kat, as of right now. If she does it, she bounces at the same arc every time, basically. And it's something where a lot of characters can really easily they can block and raw level 1. People can get hit confirms off it. You can go to where she's gonna land and grab her. And so it's something that is actually already something that can be punished. Again, I think that's something that, because of the nature of our metagame and seeing that of all our other broken abilities, we haven't really gone and studied those things as much as we should have. But as a whole, that move is actually punishable. And like I said, it can be raw level 1 by quite a bit of the cast, and even at least some damage or grab or something like that. So I think that move as is fun, to be honest.
Alright, so nothing to this, not like slight speed, tone down or nothing? Perfectly fine?
I think the only thing that I would actually put the dive kick would be, again, in terms of talking about the disjoint, it shouldn't be as disjointed as it is. Right now, sometimes even when moves connect, it won't even trade. She'll just outright beat it out, and because her whole leg is disjointed. I think that is, again, something where her box should be closer to her hitbox. So if someone goes ahead and tries to trade with it, then she actually gets hit out of it. I think it's the initial startup is pretty good for the move, and so I think the speed alone should be, initially what you try. You're trying to outframe your opponent if you're doing to them in the air, or if they're on the ground, you're trying to catch them by surprise. I don't think that in tandem with that, it should have so much priority.
Right. Okay, so Lynn, it seems like a lot of her issues are going to be because she's she's basically Sir Daniel with a little bit of flesh on her. Her hitbox is incredibly tiny. She just needs some of that vitamin C.
Exactly.
That's okay. So that covers that. Last triangle to cover. Well, no, that's not true. Her forward triangle. Let's cover that.
Yeah, forward triangle. I mean, again, that's pretty much fine. Again, like her side lifeline cake. It's a move that can be punished as well. So much of the rest of the dive kicks and how they work. Right. And she uses it obviously so she can do multiple dive kicks and everything like that. Like I said, it's something that can be somewhat kind of mixed up, but it's also something that if they do it and you can whiff punish it, you can punish it on block as well. She doesn't really get all that much forward from it. What she used to get from it is she could, if she got on the ground and they hit, she would get a debris punish, and then she could go in and do an AP burst. But I'm sure, as all of you already assumed, there is going to be a nerf in debris. So with that, forward triangle is perfectly fine.
Okay. All right, last one to cover. Up triangle. I honestly think, like, you know, this move is perfectly fine. In all honesty, it's like, oh god, is it punishable?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, yeah. So
yeah.
Triangle. Yeah. Triangles.
Well, for up triangle, is the hit and hurt boxes accurate?
Yeah. That's actually one of the few moves I feel like hers is actually balanced for once.
Okay.
It's the one where she dives aerial into the air vertically, and if she grabs you, she does the little spin and then knocks you down to the ground. But if she misses, holy hell!
All right.
Smack with anything.
So with the ongoing theme of mismatching hurt boxes, that one actually breaks that.
Well, she actually has decent landing lag on that one. So
okay.
Yeah.
If anything, it'd probably be, you know, like, keep in tandem with everything. Boost the landing lag by a little bit, and maybe just fatten her hitbox a little bit, or hurt box. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and that should just be on her general model. Aside from that, that move is pretty much fine. There's it's like he said, it's a move that can definitely be punished, and you know, if you go for knockdown, if you whiff it, then you know, eat a level 1. So that move is actually solid.
Yeah, and it's basically only used as a combo finisher, so it's not like you can do it mid-combo and then get whatever you want from it, especially if you keep going in turn of what we're saying with this.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's go into her dreaded circle moves. Let's begin with the nightmare of it all, gravity pull down circle.
Alright, well, gravity pull is, interestingly enough, when we talk about it, a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, this move's so broken, it's so broken. It's broken. The main thing that's broken about it really is actually the size of the gravity pull. It's just, particularly the ground one. The ground one has a ton of range, and she can like launch someone and air dash down, and then do the ground one, and she'll just suck someone down from like basically like a full hop, like some characters even like a double jump kind of height almost.
Right.
And so that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. That entire hitbox needs to be shrunk down in its diameter to a point where it's something where she can still get her combos and everything like that. I think a little above short hops should be okay, but for the most part, that move that in terms of that hitbox needs to be addressed. Now, on the ground, she can get punished on the ground. I would like to see, again, it having a little more recovery, so it can be punished harder on the ground version.
Right.
Obviously,
if she had increased landing lag on her aerial moves, like she should have.
Yeah, the air down 3 is actually perfectly fine. Because it's a move that if they go ahead and sit down and block it, and you can get a level 1. A lot of characters can raw level 1 her actually if she does air down circle. That's probably one of the few moves of hers that is ridiculous. Like, it isn't like ridiculous to the point where like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do it for free, and if I miss, then I'm perfectly fine. No, if you do an air down 3 in the air, then you are gonna get hit.
Right.
So, so I think that's fine. I think the only thing, again, I said, shrink the diameter of gravity well, so it still operates with some of her combos, but it should not, take up this huge radius of, oh, okay, well, you're like 5.
You're above me. Doesn't matter.
You're 4 bucks away. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And again, if you add the recovery to it as well, it'll still be a good anti-air move. But if you miss it, then you're gonna get punished, and you're gonna get punished hard. And I think that's what should be the proper risk, especially for such a move that is huge, is disjointed, and it covers such an area. Even if you shrunk down the hitbox.
What about the startup for it? And I mean, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I feel that it's a pretty quick move, like to come out and stuff, From what I've seen, the grabbing box of the gravity pull like comes out a little bit before like the animation actually starts and stuff. You know, like
Yeah,
what do you say about like the startup time for that?
Yeah, I think the startup time, again, just in the nature of Cat, I think it should be, she should have a little more startup time. I think on the ground one, she should have a little more startup time. Again, I think with the air one, I think it's pretty much fine because again, it already has a smaller hitbox, and it's also a move in which where, like I said, if she whiffs that move or she does it on block, like she's hitting she's gonna get level 1.
Right,
in the face.
And the fact that like in the air, it's already a little bit more readable. You know, it's like, oh, they're jumping, so it's a little bit more obvious to happen. You know, so
Exactly.
having less startup time in the air because of the punishability of it, as opposed to the grounded version, which is also pretty quick. But yeah, the grounded one at least would slow down the startup time of that, or at least have more than the air one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd say that you would increase the startup of both, but have the ground one have more than the air one.
Yeah, you should add a couple frames to the ground and air version. Probably like if you added like 3 more frames to the ground version, I think that would be good. And obviously, you're adding recovery frames to the ground version as well. Adding a couple frames to the air version, I think is fine. And then obviously, like I said before, that move is actually punishable by a lot of grabs, hit confirms and kill confirms, and even raw supers. So that move is okay. And again, like I said, I think it's the whole point of a lot of things that Cat should be able to do is she's a mobile character. She's supposed to get around you. She's supposed to be quick. She's quick and everything like that. And, you know, I think that don't want to necessarily take that away from her, but she's at a point where, yeah, she can be quick and all these things, but you have to be smart with it. Because if you go ahead and you're just throwing out whatever and they block it or whip it, you're going to get punished.
So
and you can get punished hard.
You essentially want to a certain point, reserve most of the reward, but increase the risk.
Right, but the thing is, we're going to take away, you know, a huge reward from her, which we're going to be talking about shortly once we get to
Literally
it. So.
right up here.
Yeah. Debris. So, okay. Basically, debris right now is the best projectile in the game. You know,
one, baby.
Absolutely. You get 3 homing projectiles that if you score it, then, you know, if someone's at short hop range, or if someone's like, you know, on the ground, or like 5 squares away, 6 squares away, that's a kill. You know, it's the move that allows her to come on to her level 1 with ease. And, like I said before, it's a homing move, and it gives way too much stun for the quickness of it, and it's just way too safe. It's pretty ridiculous. And so automatically, you know, we'll just start with the initial thing with debris summoning. Debris summoning at this point is fairly easy in some sense, you know, because, you know, sometimes cats will run away and then people will get them. But to be honest, Cat can really just pressure, do a combo, and then when she gets the AP burst, she can get debris. And the thing about that for Cat is debris in itself, I believe, the summon should take exponentially longer than it does, especially on the ground version. It's something that should be more punishable. It is punishable on the ground right now, but I think it should be slightly more punishable. The major thing is the air version. Right. The thing about Cat, even if some characters can go up high enough and hit her,
they just launch her higher.
Yeah, they launch her higher. And a foolish thing that's in this game, for some unknown reason, is when someone techs, they regain their double jump back, which means she can just dash even higher to a point where no character is going to get her, and she's going to get debris. And so the thing of is when she does debris, she stonefalls. And so, again, as explained earlier, when a character stonefalls, that means they can't perform any other action until they hit the ground. So she just falls straight down. So it's something that would make debris, doing it really high would actually be really bad, because that means you're giving your opponent all the time in the world to go to your landing and do whatever they want to do to you.
Right.
So it would encourage her more so to have to try to do debris low, and you always try to use that air version. And so it would be something in which that debris could be more readily punishable by the cast, which I think is a huge thing.
How do you feel about... okay, when she summons debris, how many pieces of debris does she get?
3.
She has
3. Okay, so how do you feel about it that instead of summoning 3, it's 1 at a time? Where,
she summons 1, she does the full animation, she only gets 1, she does the full animation again, she gets 2, she does the full animation. Well, actually, I think the issue would be that she would, say she wants to shoot 1, she would just end up summoning another one.
Exactly.
Well,
the thing is the whole move works as you summon 3, and then once you summon 3, then you're allowed to shoot however much out.
It's your mini Boros.
Yeah, but also there's another nerfs and stuff like that we're going to talk about. Like, for instance, we're looking at debris, and we think that debris is fast, it's a homing move. It should not have the hit stun that it has at all.
Okay.
Definitely nerfing down the hit stun of debris would allow debris to still go ahead. It would be, somewhat a decent in, but it's something that you're not going to get full combos off of when, you're a million miles away or even close. You're not going to get, as, ridiculous things off it.
How do you... okay.
Yeah, and so also, too, with debris, the range on it right now is ridiculous, and I'm thinking of just cutting that range in half. Make it to the point where it just dissipates once it reaches a certain point, like something around if you're looking 3.5 squares on the training. Something where it can be used when she's in mid range, but other than that, she can't just be sitting out range, outside of everything, and is full out, throw out debris.
How much AP does it take to knock debris away?
It's not the AP, it's the animation type.
Oh, okay. So like a hard knockback knocks them away.
Hard knockdown is the only thing that removes it.
Right.
As well as eject. And that's it.
Right.
Everything else, she retains it.
Like Sly's Thunder Poke, because that drops.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. Putting the move to a point where when she loses debris, that if someone does a move, say a 20 AP move, then she should lose debris. I think that debris, even with the nerfs as it is now, if we go ahead and put debris, if the summoning time for it is longer, you shorten the range and you shorten the hit stun, it'll still be a really good move. It'll still be a move that when she has debris, she's gonna still be a powerful character. And if I feel like at that time period, she should be really powerful, but if you do hit her, then, you shouldn't have to be afraid because you're still in a position where you can just get completely owned. A lot of characters are going to have to go into mid-range to at least do some damage to you. And if you're on the ground or, you get hit away and you're at mid-range, then you're still in a perfect position to own somebody, even if they made a hard read during a time where you were arguably your most powerful. And so I definitely feel that if she gets hit by a 20 AP move, then she should lose her debris.
Well,
and
why not just getting hit in general knock it away? Because if she's summoning the debris that makes her that much better, instead of it being like a starter into a combo or something, or if you throw it off into the distance, that's always not going to start anything. But if you're doing it up close, it's really powerful. Make it that it's kind of a confirmed type of thing. Like in a similar way, at least I kind of liken it to like when Heihachi charges up and it's like, okay, I need to make sure this next move hits or else it's gone. So that if she gets hit by someone, the debris goes away, making it that she has to be a bit more careful in approaching when she actually gets the debris?
I mean, I kind of like the sound of that.
Because
as it stands right now, it gives her bursts off of anything. It lets her kill off of her level 1 confirmed off of it.
But she would with the lack of hit stun, she would and another thing let me just mention this right now. Sorry to interject, but the debris would actually fall when she does gravity pull.
Okay.
Oh.
And so
rip away her possibility of level 1 confirmed.
Exactly. So she wouldn't get that confirmed from that. But also by reducing the hit stun of debris, we'd reduce it to the point where she can't get a debris level 1 regardless. It's not a true combo.
Okay. So like saying that, all right. So if she does gravity well, it makes the debris. She drops the debris. Is like the justification in the sense that like, oh, she's using gravity to use that, and now she's using gravity on something else, and she can't do 2 at the same time, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Where I mean, it makes somewhat sense in the character where it's like, okay, well, she's doing gravity well, but she's doing this, so she's pulling things, and so those things fall apart. She's the gravitational force just destroys them. But I mean, the thing is that it makes the character to the point where she can't just pull you in and then debris this and that. I think debris is good as a move getting in. I think that giving it a little hit stun, so if you're up close to the opponent, you can still somewhat combo from it, is good. At the end of the day, I do not think that it should combo into level 1, especially with a character with her toolkit and the things that she can do with it.
Right.
And so I think that making debris in that manner is something where debris will still be really good, but she's not getting all these great rewards as it would seem. And that's why I was like talking about before, like as if you move forward and stuff like that, things will make kind of more sense why something's seemingly left alone even though they seem really powerful. Because she's no longer gonna have her level 1 confirm as she gets now.
Right, and it would also make it that there's a clear distinction as to why that particular move drops her debris and the other moves don't. Unless, of course, you want another move of hers to drop the debris.
Lordy, no.
No, I think just having the gravity pull drop debris is good. Also, another thing too, again, like you were saying, the reason why I think that having debris just drop from any jab or anything or whatever move she gets hit by, I think the issue with that, because again, if you go ahead and remove her air dodging from her air dash, if she's trying to go, I mean, because that's really how she's going to be trying to get in, then it's something that, to be honest, it's going to be a lot harder for her to get in and not get hit by like a quick move like a jab, like really quick. And so it's a lot of times that she honestly wouldn't be able to really use her debris even at all. And I think that the thing we're moving towards is that, she, as a character, she's good, but, she has a lot of recovery issues, where she can get punished from these moves.
And hitbox issues.
Exactly. However, when she gets debris, then she becomes really, really good, and that's kind of the whole thing. Like, oh man, Cat has debris. Now you have to respect all these other things now because she can,
she lands 1 debris. GG.
Yeah. And so,
it also takes away an approach in the sense that, like, if she takes out the debris, and meaning she wants to use it, she now is limiting herself that, like, oh, I have to do a different approach because I can't use gravity pull, or else I'm going to lose this investment.
Right.
So, tell me about the debris in that, she takes out a bunch of random objects, correct?
Yeah.
They all have the same size hitbox?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, so they have the same size hitbox, but they obviously won't match the hitbox because they're different objects, like a vase and a chair. So, I was thinking perhaps more of a visual aid. So, I'm glad that they all have the same hitbox, but something that I think would be nice is a visual aid where, like, similar to the gravity well, where it's like a black circle type thing, that would give the debris like an aura, which would represent the hitbox. So then, you know, she's still taking out her random stuff, but it makes more sense, because like when there's a chair coming at you, you know, there's an open side of the chair and there's a part where the legs are, and you know, one makes more sense than the other. You know, so like if they all have the same hitbox, they don't exactly match, which makes it a little bit harder to see. Would you want to? How would you feel about just giving it a little bit more of a visual aid?
Yeah, I mean, that's something definitely like you can like implement as well. I think, I mean, obviously for me personally, to me, I could go either way. I think that's something that you can easily see. But I think just kind of the sake for so people can identify that like this is the hitbox would be a good thing. And you know, yeah, I think that'd be perfectly fine. I'd be fine if they did it. And again, if they didn't do it, then they didn't do it. I know there's a lot of moves in this game that, you know, just in fighting games in general, they may have they may have hitboxes that you can't really see straight from the visual, and I think that's something that also forces people to go into training mode and go into those things and understand how those hitboxes work and everything.
Right.
So
we don't really want guessing, you know.
Yeah, you know. So it's something that, you know, you could go in train mode and figure out all these things, and you should. Yeah, I mean, I think that, hey, if you have it where it's a definitive aura, so it's like, okay, that's where the hitbox is going to be, and it helps people, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
Domino, is that where you thought I was going?
Yep, exactly. Because it's like like the vase is smaller than a chair.
Exactly.
It has the same hitbox, but it goes the same distance.
Right.
It explodes.
That vase is going to smack you before you even think it is.
Man, what a home wrecker.
Exactly, so...
Oh man, that huge debris segment.
Hey,
yeah.
Debris.
Hey,
Yo,
debris.
Debris makes us all free.
Yeah.
Hey, man. So good.
Alright. So. Well, we got 2 more circle moves to finish, and thankfully all of Kat's moves are pretty much the same in the air. Let's go into her up circle. This move is actually quite booty.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
What is it?
It's the shockwave.
Yeah.
It's gravity shockwave. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know what it... Okay.
Yeah, she kind of farts, and it makes a small shockwave, and it just kind of pushes them back, but...
Okay, yeah. Yeah, alright.
Yeah.
She puts her arms up and stuff, and like pushes everyone away and stuff from both sides. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that move is just fine. Leave it as is. I don't... At this point, I couldn't think of anything to make that move useful while making it not broken or anything. So I think that move is fine as is. And I think, you know, obviously it's a punishable move. She can't really do anything with it, you know. Who knows? Maybe someone will find something with it later on in the metagame. That as it is right now, I think the move is fine, and it's, you know, it has recovery, it can be punished.
Okay.
Alright, final circle move. Forward circle.
And yeah, forward circle is kind of in the same boat. As up circle.
Forward circle is where she kind of like lunges at them, and she has that weird Bison's Psycho Crusher.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Psycho Crusher, or kind of like Psylocke's Psylocke super.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
So that's it for all the button moves.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much it. That move's pretty much fine. Again, what I was gonna say too. You know, going back to talking about the air dash.
Okay.
You know, going ahead and taking out her ability to air dodge out of the air dash. The thing is, however, what you would have to do with her as well is you would have to make her air dash cancel on the ground, because as of right now, how her air dash is, it doesn't cancel on the ground.
Right.
The only way it cancels actually is because when you air dodge, and that's another reason why air dodge was so ridiculously good. Doing through the air dash, because it would cancel her and it would keep her safe.
She has a wave dash.
So she has a wave dash with the if you do X twice, you do it diagonal into the ground, and then you press triangle right when you hit. She'll wave dash and she'll slide across the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say for her, if you have her air dash when she does it diagonally to cancel on the ground, then she'll still have her form of a tri-dash, but it'll be, again, something, like I said, during that whole time period, she's hittable.
Okay.
And so it's something where if she's moving around you like that and doing this thing, you throw out a hitbox and she's going to get hit. And it's not like you have to be worried about, oh, is she going to air dodge or anything? No, she gets hit. Once she commits to an air dash, she can get hit regardless of what other thing that she does. And I think that's a fair trade-off for that move while still making it so she can still have her movement, which is, the hallmark of the character.
Right. Okay.
Before we move on to the supers,
I'd also like to mention something too, but YouTube.
Wanted to say was her grab. She can grab from both sides, right?
Correct.
Right.
Why? She's the only character in the game that can do that. Shouldn't we just formalize that to the rest of the cast and grab the direction you're facing?
I think the reason why they put that for her in this game really is because of the nature of in tandem with her movement. There's a lot of times when people will cross up, and then in terms of the mix-ups for the grab. And the thing is, honestly, even though she has that for her grab does give her AP burst, but she won't get a kill confirm off it. And if she whiffs a grab, she's kind of like Ratchet in the same regard, where she can get kills from that. Yeah, if she whiffs a grab, then she gets killed or a hit confirmed.
But once again, due to her marvelous little hitbox and her animation where she kind of flops to the ground, if for whatever reason your move is quick but not quick enough, when she flops, she recovers and she'll smack you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's another thing. I think that for her, I think it's fine that she grabs both sides. I think that in terms of if you go ahead and you standardize her hurt box to the point where there's not a move where she just randomly whiffs, like your move whiffs for no reason, then I think that move's perfectly fine. And actually, same with Ratchet too, like if someone's close from behind, he actually gets a grab.
Okay.
Which is kind of delayed. So I think it goes with the same thing. So she's getting kind of like, she's getting a reward from her grab and from her AP burst, she's no longer getting a level 1 kill confirm off it. However, if she whiffs it, then she's getting killed. So I think that's a fair trade.
Yeah. The last thing I'd like to mention is that her ability to stick to walls and block, I think it's dumb.
She can block sticking to walls?
Yeah. It's
Holy crap.
I don't know why that's there. I thought for I didn't even know the whole time I played Cat because I never even thought of blocking on a wall.
Epic wall fights, Cat dittos.
Yeah, it's just stupid. That should not be there at all. I mean, I don't mind the fact that she can go on a wall. I think it's funny. It fits with the character, but she should not.
I don't think it should last as long either. How long she sticks to the wall, it makes Raiden's wall runs laughable with how long she can float there and then eject and then just continue to dash upwards.
No, I agree with that too because it allows her to escape a lot of supers in that way, and I think that's really unfair. I think that if you can just go and just air stall in that manner, it's just ridiculous. So I definitely feel that the time on that should be decreased, and she should not be able to block on that.
Well, how much time is it in relation to Cole's wall cling?
Slightly longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like also if you mash teabag, if you just wall teabag, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it feels like it lasts slightly longer if you keep mashing teabagging.
Oh, so if you're doing a move, it lasts a little bit longer.
She can only teabag and block on the wall.
Okay.
And then she can eject herself from the wall with a little, a small, like a push off, and then she can continue to do whatever if she still hasn't wasted her second jump.
Okay.
So yeah. I don't know. I just felt like that was something we should mention before we move on to her supers, which is right here. Okay, level 1. How much does it cost? And
what would you do to it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the point is right now, her level 1, I think having it as is perfectly fine. I actually wouldn't really change anything about it. I think especially now that you're taking away her confirms into level 1 would be the largest thing. Just going ahead, I mean, even like I said before, if you go and take her down triangle and you add the slight recovery, as I said, then again, that too would make her level 1 whiff from that move.
Okay.
So doing that, it would basically make it a fairly good raw level 1 to use. And so, it is it's a decent raw level 1. You could do something in terms of using debris and kind of block string or something like that, but it's something that wouldn't be guaranteed at all anymore. And you can punish her for it and stuff too. So I think that just leaving it as it is fine, especially now that it's something that is not confirmable into.
Okay, and obviously make her hitbox. Wait, how do you feel about she can float over mines though?
Don't agree with that. Again, as for the whole time, her boxes need to be properly proportioned.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is that with her level 1, she makes her body horizontal and she's flying above the ground.
She turns into a little dot though.
No, but yeah, exactly. The thing is about it is I understand that she's flying over the ground, but also actually
for an arrow.
Yeah, but for actual characters as well. If for instance, if I was Sweet Tooth or something, and if I jumped over the mine, and I was near that range where a cat is towards the mine, I would blow up.
Okay,
I would get hit by the mine. You get what I mean?
It would still be in the activation zone of the obstacle.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It's because the issue is not only is she horizontal, but where they put her hurt box it's so small. So again, if you make her have a larger hurt box, then she will blow up.
Right.
And I'm just mentioning this because I was messing around with Sweet Tooth, and it's man, she can fly over my mind. She doesn't even need to respect it at all. It defeats the whole purpose of it.
And push come to shove, we can just have her arm slink down to the ground. Make sure she touches that stuff. But yeah.
I was thinking more along just make it akin to all the other Dash Supers where they're near the ground or literally on the ground, and just sure she's slightly floating, but just make that hitbox so that if she flies over mine, boom, it explodes.
Right, yeah, because the thing about level 1, the distinction between the level 1 and the level 2 of any character in the game is that you can hit level 1s out, so...
They don't get free passes.
Exactly, if I'm going to hit her level 1 with, my Thunder Poke, because it's a slightly disjointed move, should be able to, I have to really space that perfectly and stuff like that, obstacles on the ground like mines should also hit, level 1s are hittable.
Right.
So her hitbox, as you said, hurt boxes need to be fixed, they need to be enlarged, so then it's more punishable. But, it's still a kill move.
Okay, and just to clear up, her level 1 costs 150 AP, right?
Yep.
Alright. Moving on. Alright, let's talk about her level 2. Her level 2 costs 400, also the max amount for a super of this range. Anything you would do to this? I mean, she stops time and floats to the sky and launches a wave.
Yeah.
And I mean, I understand that it's a level 2, they're more guaranteed, but she stops time to float out of the range of everything.
Right, she can use her launcher, send you up into a perfect confirm because of how long. Yeah, the stopping time's oh, you're up there. Give me a sec, coming up, and then shoot.
Right. I mean, it's basically a move for. I mean, it confirms really well with the launcher. She does have up throw that she gets a kill confirmed from it as well.
Right.
But her main thing, what she's gonna do is launcher. The thing about it for her is, I think that you do have other characters who do have level 2s that actually end up putting them in the airborne, where they can go ahead and do things. I think what would be good for her maybe is in terms she has 2 waves that she goes with, and I think that in itself is pretty damn good. I think that a lot of times, even in raw, sometimes it can be really, really good. And I think that maybe something you'll look at into taking off a wave from her, so it's something that she can't use as great as just a flat out raw move. So like in terms of because she moves herself away, but I think as well as having it as a confirm, I think is fine. I think it's something kind of similar to where Kratos is in terms of going ahead and he has his level 2 and you get that you get a launcher into a confirm.
My impression.
Does that include throw confirm though? Because throw confirm, I always have throw confirm into whatever super. I feel like in this game has always been incredibly powerful for no reason.
It has, but I think that it's usually really powerful when it comes to a level 1. I think when it comes to a level 2, it isn't all that bad. And again, like I said, with her throw anyways, her throw is the type of thing where if she whips out throw, then she can get killed. And so that's actually, for getting all that meter to level 2, to putting yourself in a position where you can get killed in that way is actually not necessarily the greatest kind of, greatest reward in terms of having a level 2 confirm, whereas other characters, say like Kratos gets a kill from off his level 2 with his grab. Evil Cole gets his as well, and it's something where if they whip it, they're not in such a terrible position as Cat is. So again, I think that there's not too much of a problem for that.
It's and again, waves.
I honestly think that, at least for my impression of the level 2, I also agree that I don't think it's that overbearing of a super. I think that even the 2 waves I think is fine. What I think is the problem is when her little spikes are flying off, right? They explode after a certain amount of time, right?
They just explode when they hit max range.
Explode when they hit the ground.
When they hit max range or they hit the ground, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and that explosion is a hitbox, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So at the very end, it has an increased hitbox. Now, I think that they're kind of big enough, and because of the awkward speed that they move, where they're fast, but not too fast, where, dodging them is still kind of tricky because of the speed. It's quick where you're like, oh man, I gotta do something, but it's slow enough where, if you were to time it, if you were to miss your timing by a little bit too early, you'll still end up rolling into it and then getting hit by it. What I think really catches people is the explosion, because it is homing into them, and if they're on the ground, it homes into them and it hits the ground, and then there's an extended hitbox that kills them. I'm kind of fine with the 2 waves. I will ask you this though. With the 2 waves, how consecutive can you fire it? Is it just 1, 2, or is it 1 and you're forced to wait and then 2?
Yeah, you're forced to wait.
Okay, so then it can't be you can't trap one with the other, where it's oh, you dodged the first one, luckily the second one's right next behind. That's not possible.
Yeah,
keep
that's
in
not
mind
possible.
you can also
Right.
aim it too.
Right, so I think that at least the way I feel about it is that this doesn't affect Sly at all. But
I'm cutting that.
yeah, okay. My impression of it is that what really is tough about it is that explosion part at the end. Because it's people running away from it, and then it explodes. So it'll explode in the air, or if they're trying to dodge on the ground, I think it's mostly the explosion that catches it. Where I think the speed of it and how large it is already kind of are fine on its own. And with that said, I would, if you were to nerf the explosion of it, either take it away completely or make it slightly smaller, then I would be okay with the 2 waves.
Right.
If you want to keep it as is, I can totally see where you're coming from with taking away a wave and having it just as 1 shot. I kind of feel that perhaps not trying to downplay a nerf to a super character, but I feel that if it's just 1 wave, that might make it much worse than first impressions might bring to it. Where
Right.
I've always kind of thought of it as more of an air-to-ground version of Kratos' level 1, but except it just shoots 2.
Right. Well, the thing
Just
about
kind
that,
of-
the thing about that is that because Kratos, for Kratos, his range is what he can just confirm so far away. She doesn't exactly have chains that shoot far away and still confirm to kill. So
that's true, but at the moment she has a gravity pull that does the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. But we've already spoken about how we want to nerf the range on that. So I feel that she only has 2 confirms into level 2, grab and a launcher. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right.
Pretty much, or is that it?
Yeah,
that is it.
Okay, so I mean, I'm kind of fine with that because, if we're limiting the range of the gravity pull, it makes it a little bit less prevalent, and a grab is a grab. I'm kind of alright with that. I think that if, like I said, I'm fine with having 2 waves. I would affect the way, if we had 2 waves, I would change the effect of the spikes, whether like get rid of the explosion, if you want to change the size of the spikes themselves, the speed, something like that. I think that's fine. I think the 2 waves is what makes it a level 2, because I think without the 2 waves, it's...
It would be too easy?
Exactly, it would be too easy. It would be like, I have to confirm this or it's useless.
Right.
That's my impression of like seeing level 2 happen in games and stuff. But that's my take of it. Like, how do you feel about, instead of taking away a wave, changing the characteristics of the spikes?
I think that's perfectly fine. Honestly, the whole intention of taking away was initially dealing with kind of free for all and 2v2, and dealing with those kind of things. It takes up such a mass range. With the explosion, that's something that should only be kind of fired off once. But if you have it where it fires off twice, and it's something as you take away the explosions that it has, then it's something that is a little more dodgeable, but it's still something that can be effective in 2v2 and a free for all.
Right. That was actually what I was thinking about when. Regarding the level 2, is that for free-for-alls and 2v2, it's because, a level 2, Big Daddy's level 2, he gets to run around and just kill everyone, And for free-for-all being the chaotic thing, you worked for your level 2, time to unleash a certain amount of hell, And it's still dodgeable, so I totally think that's fine. I just think that, it should be a bit more dodgeable, so that the explosion shouldn't catch them when they timed it right. Because some people's rolls, Big Daddy isn't going to go a very big distance, and he's a very large character, So
well, not even like that. Just like you said, the explosion range, it lasts, and then they need to dodge the second wave that explodes too.
Exactly, So I think if a spike is coming at Big Daddy and he times the dodge correctly, because the spike is already pretty big. It's about the size of a good roll and stuff, and the speed that it's moving at. It has an awkward speed compared to the speeds that rolls go at. So
the Toro Mochi Ball speed.
Yeah, exactly. Kinda. That's a really awkward speed. Where it takes a pretty good timing to dodge, so that it's still threatening, but it's still beatable. And that's my impression of the level 2. I would say keep the 2 waves, but change the waves.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there you go. That's my input about it. Bam.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. Like I said, I think that we're both kind of looking at the same things. I think definitely, going ahead and just take away the explosion part of it would be perfect, because it would make it more dodgeable. Obviously, the explosion kind of lasts a little bit too, slightly enough to where if you do time a roll, it can catch the end of a roll, which is really foolish, in my opinion. So being able to have that taken away, yet she still maintains the second wave, seems like she can still do a decent amount of damage in a free fall and then something in 2v2. Again, it is the max amount of AP for level 2, and you can find out some other level 2s that do a lot more than hers do. And by removing her her level 1, again, it's something that makes I think it makes her a lot more solid.
Okay. Alright, moving on. Let's wrap her up with her level 3, 750 AP, correct?
Yep.
Alright. So yeah, level 3, she transformation super, can get 3 kills.
Right.
So
yeah,
simple time cut.
Yeah, simple time cut from it, so she can go ahead. I think it's something that she should
get her 2 kills and
should
be allowed some margin of error, so that not that oh man she missed a scratch. She's only getting like 1 kill.
Yeah, well, like enough time where like in the sense of if an opponent forfeits their invincibility, it's like, oh, now you've given me the potential of 3 kills. But if it weren't for that, she would still get 2 kills. If if the person uses their invincibility correctly, she's only capable of 2 kills per character. And that way, there's still enough time where it's like, oh, I made 1 mistake, I am now damned to only get 1 kill. So that is taken out of the equation, and the triple kill is also taken out of the equation. And of course, by triple kill, I mean 3 kills per 1 character.
Yeah.
I mean, as it stands right now, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, her lunge speed is pretty good. Her little scratchy speed is pretty good. The gravity ball of shadiness is pretty good.
Yeah, I think her level 3 is actually not even that bad. It's just really the amount of time. I don't think that level 3 should get 3 kills per character.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I don't think that any level 3 should get 3 stock per character in this game.
Right.
I think that if you have a character that guns for level 3, I think there should be a combination of a level 3 or level 2 character, and a character that should build AP really well, which I think Kat does. I think that she should be a character kind of akin to Narco, and where she has a great moveset. She gets good AP burst and combos and everything, but she's kind of gunning for a level 2 and level 3 to end up beating opponents, and that's kind of a thing that makes her she has to make more right guesses, so she gets a better moveset to supplement that.
Right.
I think that going ahead and cutting down her time a bit to the point where it's just that she has pretty much she gets her 2 kills, because at this point too, even if you did go ahead and remove and lessen the hit stun for debris, she still might be able to confirm into level 3, and either way the person will be right next to her for her level 3. So I think it's something like, if you do shave down the time, it's something that will move away the issue of her having the capacity to get 3 kills, but it's something that would kind of assure her 2 kills, unless someone does a really good dodge, then maybe then she only gets 1 kill, but for the most part she would be getting 2 kills. And I think that's something, again, in the same kind of vein of a Narco, where you're pretty much going to get 2 kills. The only way you get 3 is someone just makes a huge mistake. And I think that making it a little less so she has a tighter timing for that, I think it's just perfect.
Alright.
This is probably the scariest part of the whole podcast.
Yeah, this is where the real magic of Kat happens.
Glitches.
Oh man,
Alright.
Lay them on us, Bam.
Start with the most obvious one, that float in debris into the sunset.
Oh my
God.
Okay, so Kat's debris, it has a tendency to where it will just start flying all the way around, and some screens it will be invisible, and some screens it won't be. So sometimes you can even counter the debris, like for instance, if you're playing the matchup Kat versus Kratos, you can counter the flying debris, and so all of a sudden Kratos is just throwing a crumple projectile at you for no reason. And no one can see it, no one knows what's going on, it's just happening. It's just a lot of issues with her debris. She'll go ahead at times where she'll go ahead, her debris just is stuck, and so she can't even pull out debris. She just keeps doing the summon over and over again, and so that's another issue. Then you just have her regular debris just being invisible, and then when you do a combo or something like that, all of a sudden it appears when you do something as well. So like that entire thing needs to be reworked. That debris is just like absolutely horrendous when it comes to the game. That's probably one of the most glitchiest things about her as a character.
Right.
Keep on railroading here.
Yeah. She also sometimes at times, in like she has glitches with her gravity well as well too. Sometimes they'll kind of like float alongside with her when like, and it's just like they're kind of like stuck to her at times. And it's like something where like, you know, it's not, you do gravity well and they're just like still like flying with you and you're just stuck. And that also needs to be adjusted. There's also times too, because of the nature of it's kind of like really a netcode issue, but in terms of her jabs, in certain points, like obviously her jabs as a whole is like already like a true block string and doing all these things, but sometimes that like, you know, you get so much lag where you can actually just keep comboing to like the one jab to the one jab to the one jab and you're perfectly fine, and you actually combos and you can get AP burst. So
oh my God.
It's like really, yeah, there's like really stupid stuff like that. Yeah, I would say like the major ones that need to be adjusted are the gravity well issue and the debris. The debris basically messes up the entire character. And then also sometimes too, she has one where she's doing her neutral triangle, and it will appear as if she's doing it the other way. And
God, it's a visual glitch, but it's one that basically gives her silliness for free.
Exactly, because it's something where you could be like, oh, I'm safe, and so you just let go of block, and she actually did it the proper way, and all of a sudden you got hit. Yeah, and that tends to happen a lot with her, where you just see her flying the other way, and all of a sudden you're getting comboed, and you're wondering why. And I think it's not just like, you know, the huge like netcode. I mean, obviously something of the netcode issue, but it tends to happen to Cat a lot. I mean, it's something that has happened like, you know, virtually like every other match or something like that.
Okay.
She also has frame rate issues, doesn't she?
Yes.
Oh God, frame rate issues.
She slows down the game. Great.
Yeah, she slows down the game. Again, I think a lot of times that stuff has to tend to do with her debris and stuff, and a lot of effects on those, so they need to figure out a way to kind of solve that.
Thinking that the debris can be calculated quicker so that the PS3 doesn't wait on it, slowing the game down.
Right.
Exactly. And just how, in terms of like going ahead with debris, and I think actually this would help too, in terms of the range of debris, or just like I said, having the debris dissipate in a proper manner would be good, so you don't have this kind of floating debris happening all the time, which is usually like the terrible thing. Like you have this whole screen filled up with debris, and then you have frame rates drop.
Okay.
Oh, okay, Bam. Could you do what you said you would do in the beginning of this podcast and wrap up everything?
Okay.
It's a bit big, yes, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The TLDR.
Yeah.
Well, can't even TLDR this one, man.
Yeah. there's a lot. But basically, what we do with Kat is she's a very powerful character. She has a great toolkit regardless. And so the point of the way to nerf her in a point where she can be balanced but still retain her uniqueness is initially going ahead and removing the ability for her to air dodge out of her air dash. So it's basically a command dash that it operates like other characters' dashes in this game. Also allowing her air dash to cancel on the ground, so she can still have the ability to do her tri dash, so she can have her movement in that regard. Looking at her jabs, increasing the startup for the jab, adding more recovery for a full jab so it can be punished appropriately. Going in for her up square, putting some more ending frames on that as well so it can be punished more appropriately. Going ahead and making her air forward square have some more landing frames so it can be punished appropriately. Going in for her neutral triangle, making it so that it's a move in which she's considered grounded for a longer period of time within the move, so if someone reads it, they can get a ground confirm or ground crumple on it. Right. Making it a move that actually has more recovery. Her recovery should last until she's probably a square from the ground. or maybe just a little higher, but to the point where it's a move that can be punished if she does so, and the only way she actually gets something from it if she actually does it on hit, and in which then she can cancel it into her other moves if she retains her combo still. Then you would go into her forward triangle and down triangle are perfectly fine. Those moves are punishable. You go into her debris. The huge thing for the debris is making sure that debris summon is stone falls in the air. Going ahead and making that once she pulled out her debris, if she uses gravity well at any time period, she loses her debris. It drops. Taking debris and reducing the hit stun to it to the point where she can't get her debris to level 1 confirm. Then also reducing the distance of the move to somewhere around 3.5, 4 squares, like training squares, so that she can use it more so as a mid-range option and to get in and whatnot, but it's not something so polarizing as which she gets a full combo from across the stage. And also having debris to have some kind of aura around it so everyone can understand that the hitboxes are standardized regardless of how it looks.
Right.
And then Gravity Well, adding some starting up frames on those, both versions. A little more on the ground version and a little more on the recovery for the ground version as well. So you would get a stronger punish, and as well as reducing the overall diameter of the Gravity Well to a point where she can still get her combos if she launches someone from a jab or anything from a short hop, but something that's not going to pull someone from this, gargantuan range and everything, and prevent them from even inhabiting that space. And also then for that, just leaving the recovery frames for air down circle as is, because it's something that can be punished by a lot of moves in the game. Then looking at her level 2.
Well, her level 1 first.
Yeah, her level 1 would be virtually the same. There'd be no changes. The changes inherent with her losing her confirms would be enough. Then for her level 2.
Well, I mean, also I kind of meant the whole, don't make her floats.
Right. I was gonna add in a whole thing about the hurt box.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Then you go ahead, take her level 2. You remove the explosions for the waves, so it's something that could be somewhat more dodgeable. And then for her level 3, you go ahead and reduce the allotted time for it, so it's something where in max she can get 2 kills.
She can happily get 2 kills in a 1v1, up to 4 in a 2s, and free for all up to 6.
Correct.
2 kills per character.
Essentially,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. And now looking at all her hurt boxes, have those all standardized to actually fit her character model. Some of them should be
fattened regardless.
Yeah, they need to be fattened regardless. In particular, her down triangle, her slide, and also for her level 1, she should be treated as on the ground during her level 1. So if someone goes for a punish, they actually get a ground punish for that. And they say the same thing for her down triangle. Have the hitbox fattened to the point where it's something that she would get hit as if she was, a little less than standing. And also for her crouch as well, standardizing her crouch hurt box, so it's something that can actually hit and not so many moves are whiffing off that as a whole. Also for her, having her air block on the wall, it should be removed, as well as the time allotted for her to be on the wall, so that she can't air stall as well.
You said 20 AP moves should knock the debris away.
Yes, you're right. Having the ability that the 20 AP moves do knock the debris away is a huge thing. And also for the debris summon, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this, but I'll just reiterate again, that if she does debris in the air, then she stonewalls. So she loses the ability to perform any other action until she touches the ground.
Right, last one. And to cut her aerial neutral triangle from 30 to something lower.
So I put it to 20 AP for neutral triangle.
Right. Huge wrap up, but I mean, anything we missed, please, we may have potentially missed one or two things, but keep in mind, Cat is Cat. She's huge in terms of changes, so, but I believe we hit most of the very, very important things that we previously mentioned glitches.
We hit the breaking points, things that make her broken. Right. We hit those, so I think
exactly.
Yeah,
I think that at this point with these kind of new adjustments, I think that I would see her as a character kind of where we used to have Nariko in a way back in the day in terms of 1v1s, where she was she had a lot of strong options and everything, but she was a character that did have to rush for a level 3 and then level 2. So she has her combos and everything like that, but because of the nature of the game, in terms of having to kill supers, she wasn't as, quite as seen as broken as well. And then also now having the point where she has recovery stuff, she's a character that's going to be moving around you, doing, flash combos and whatnot stuff, but if you do catch her and she makes a mistake, then you can actually punish her for it. And I think that's a major thing in terms of, maintaining her playstyle and her uniqueness into the all-star task, because I think her toolkit and her character design as all is a very, very great design, but I think unfortunately a lot of things weren't
thought out very well.
Yeah, weren't executed properly. So I think this would bring home the nature of the character, putting her in a good position.
Okay. So yeah, with Bam's marvelous wrap up of everything. Remember, guys, these podcasts are meant to inform you guys, give you insight on characters that some people have spent time on, and like I mentioned at the very beginning, are other cat and professionals such as Lizardheart, Iggy, Dylan, several others. They couldn't make it on time, so they just ran it through BAM. They said, "Oh, okay." So yeah. So
seal of approval acquired.
Yeah, seal of approval acquired. So please, no silliness of you X and Y on this over here. So yeah. But yeah. So in conclusion, guys, remember that these are intended for the fall patch. Hopefully, these podcasts come out in time so that it's not too late for Sony Santa Monica to do these. So, yeah, that was me, Domino SNK.
Devin 3000.
And Bam of the people.
We'll catch you guys next time. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.